everyone, Harry here, welcome back. New project. This one's simply called The Internet's a Band. The idea is it's a collaboration project. I'm going to write as many different songs in as many different genres with as many different musicians as I possibly can. The idea with each episode, I'll be doing a little playthrough video of the song with the musicians that have made it, and then I'll be diving into the project and giving a little rundown of how I produced it, how I mixed it. So episode 1, this one's quite a heavy one. The guys I've worked with on this video are Rob and Aaron-Twinney. These are both guys that I grew up playing music with or around. I've played in loads of bands with Twinney, I've been in lots of music projects with him over the years, but I've never worked with Rob on anything, so it's been really cool to get him involved in some of my music. So let's get into it. This song's called Be Me. The three of us have written it together during lockdown by sending things forward and backwards and going over ideas. Hope you really enjoy it. Stick around till after the song. I'll be diving into the project and going through the production of the song. Enjoy. When I started putting this song together, the thing I was going for the most was simplicity, and I've tried to carry it through in everything that we've done. I wanted to write something big, open, chuggy. I didn't want intricate lead lines all over the place, I just wanted it to be big and in your face. I've gone through the same kind of process with mixing the song. I've used as little plugins and processing as possible. I've just tried to get good instrument parts recorded well. There has been a little bit of editing, with it being metal, the guitars have had to be edited to be nice and tight and stuff, but apart from that, I haven't really fucked about with much else. Start from the top. Drums, standard, they're programmed. I used Get Good Drums and then bounced out into individual audio tracks like I do with everything else. I did process them slightly different on this one though. I tried to make them as real as possible within the software. So usually I take advantage of the fact that it's a digital platform and I'll get rid of all of the cymbal bleed, all of the drum bleeds. I left them all in on this, actually accentuated them a little bit and then edited them as if they were live drums. I think it's made quite a big difference to how the drums sound. I think they sound a lot more forward placed and a lot more natural, and they don't sound just clicky and digital. So there's a standard drum bus, and then there's a highly compressed drum bus, standard kind of stuff with metal drums really. They're very punchy, but at the same time I've left a lot of frequency range for everything else to fill in around them. I often find with metal drums that they stick out a little bit too much in the mix, so that's something I've tried to avoid. The interesting thing I did with this actually was with the snare drum. So usually I'll just take the snare top and the snare bottom, I'll blend them into the snare sound, and then obviously EQ and mix that. With this one I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to have a nice tail, and I wanted it to have a lot of body and not as much crack as I would usually put in a snare drum. What I did was, instead of just taking the top and bottom snares from Get Good, I blended all of the microphones together that had anything to do with the snare drum. So in this snare drum sample, there's actually very little processing apart from some compression. That is a combination of the top mic, the bottom mic, the room mics, the overheads, and I blended them all within the software and then bounced it out, which I thought was pretty cool. I then underpinned it with a snare replacement sample to get the finished snare sound, which I think worked out incredibly nicely. Bass, Ward-Twinney sent over was perfect really. I haven't really done anything with it apart from just editing it a little bit just to put some gaps in. I didn't give him much of a challenge really. The song was really easy to play, but what he sent over was just solid, absolutely perfect, and I really haven't had to do anything to it. The only thing I did find, I know he recorded this through the Parallax plugin, and I think through the Archetype Abassi plugin as well. The low end on what he sent me was absolutely ridiculous, to the point where I actually had to cut out over 9 dB of 50 hertz because there was just so much bottom end, and as soon as you sent it through a compressor it was just overwhelming the entire mix. So it's a nice problem to have. I'd rather be cutting low ends than trying to boost low ends, so that was nice. I haven't really done too much to it. There's a tiny amount of EQ, which again was to pull a bit more out the bottom end. I say a little, pulled a hell of a lot out of the bottom end. A little bit of compression, and that's about it really. All the guitars were recorded through the Archetype Abassi plugin with a little bit of EQ, and then there is a tiny bit of compression and a little bit of EQ and a few other bits and pieces on the SSLE channel. This is an amazing plugin, by the way. I've recently obtained it. I can't believe I waited so long to buy it, and I just use it on absolutely everything at the moment. Yeah, so I use the Archetype Abassi neural amp sim. I only bought it recently, but I'm completely converted. I think it's fantastic. It's the best amp sim I've ever heard. I often struggle with amp sims because they can sound really good when you play them on their own, isolated, but as soon as you try and mix the guitar into a track, I always really struggle. They often quite sound messy, hissy, and there's frequencies all over the place, but I didn't find that at all with the neural plugin, so I'll give you a little blast. But yeah, just really tidy, combined with the bass. A nice tight bottom end. Vocals. The vocals that Rob sent over were absolutely amazing. They were perfect. Massive thanks to Rob really, it made my life really easy. When I received the vocals off him, they were already semi-processed. They were all completely in time. There was underpins, there was harmonies, there was highs, there was lows, and I really didn't have to do much to them at all. I kind of dropped them in. A little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ just to make it fit a bit nicer in the mix, and then just a transient killer on it just to take the really spiky, harsh amplitudes out of the signal, just to make it a bit smoother.
Release me from my own cage before I do something that I can't escape!
So clean vocals, I recorded these. These are actually the vocals that I recorded when I did my first ever demo of this song. I had the flu or I was ill in some way, and it made me sound amazing. It made me sound husky and rough and edgy. I tried to re-record them when we did the final version of this song. I couldn't get them anywhere close, so I think my secret is a lot like Phoebe and Friends. I just need to have the flu all the time and it makes my voice sound excellent. There's not too much editing, there's not too much pitch correction or anything. I just wanted them to be rough and ready. Yeah, a little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ, a little bit of reverb, standard kind of stuff. There's obviously, I've got some oohs, some ahs, some harmonies, some counter melodies in there as well, just to bulk it up a little bit. So with Rob's vocals, I wrote the chorus and the chorus lyrics, and I gave the song to him, and he went away and literally wrote all of the rest of the lyrics for the song and all of the vocal parts, recorded them all himself and sent them back to me. So I can take absolutely no credit for the vocals whatsoever apart from the chorus. He did such a fantastic job with it. When I first wrote the song, when I first demoed it, it was littered everywhere with lead lines. Pretty much all the rest of the song is completely unchanged from the first demo, but there was lead lines absolutely everywhere. They sounded really cool. It had a lot of momentum and a lot of progression between the sections because of the lead lines kind of leading into things. But after I heard Rob's vocals that he sent me back for the song, I realised that we just don't need them. His vocals were so full and they have so much momentum going through them anyway, and they set up the next part of the song perfectly, that I just decided to just get rid of all the lead lines and just get big and simple with it. What I did was, instead of going for lots of lead lines, I decided I'd do it quite atmospheric. So all I did was just recorded lots of open notes that all lead together to make a chord, basically. So there's a few different bits, lots of reverb, lots of delay. There's 2 clean lines down here as well that are doing a very similar thing. And then there's a synth part as well that goes all the way through the song, which is just... and it's just got that 16th note, just... you can't really hear it, but altogether it just kind of makes like an atmosphere for the song. And that just goes on throughout all of it underneath. And that's what I did instead of lead lines. I think it was the right thing to do. It just makes the song sound really open and big. There is a few other guitar parts in the choruses. Just some tappy bits and some rung out bits. That wasn't really in search of having like a lead line or anything. That was just to pick the song up a little bit when the chorus came in, just so sonically just something else was going on. So all of this atmosphere stuff, it's all kind of panned pretty hard and then spread using a stereo widener to kind of these bits of the mix, so that it's not taking up any space here where the actual important bits of the song are, but it's just kind of around. You're just aware of it, but you can't really hear it. There's a few little bits, just to like little finishing touches, little garnishes, if you will. The song is littered with the old school reverse cymbals and bass drops, just to accentuate little gaps and drops and stuff. There's a gated guitar that I made. Not revolutionary, not anything like that. We've all heard it before, but I just made this using a MIDI trigger into the built-in Reaper gate, which I then just used as a trigger for the gate, which each 16th note in sync with the song just opened and shut the gate, just to give that effect. And then I've used a widening plugin to just send it to that kind of space with the atmospheric stuff again, and then just a phaser, just to make it a little bit more interesting. There's also a bit here where I decided to get all... there's a bit somewhere where I decided to get all 90s with it. There you go. It's just a little build-up of a song, and I just spread it from ear to ear quickly just to create a little bit of tension, if you will. Doesn't sound like much, but when you've got headphones on, it's quite effective. And then I put the whole song through ozone vinyl. Just to give me a little spin down for the outro when the rest of the song cuts out. Again, very subtle, but it's just the little bits that finish off a track. As I said before, really, everything is just kind of SSL E-channel with different settings, a few little bits and pieces, but really it's just a very basic Bogo mix. I mastered this as well, just for a little bit of an experiment, really. I haven't done anything too revolutionary. I read a couple of articles and just kind of put a very basic mastering chain together of just a little bit of compression, tiny little bit of EQ, bit of multiband, a bit of limiter, well, a decent amount of limiter, and then I've just got some meters and that kind of stuff to help out. So that's the song, really. It was quite basic, but that was the kind of the whole point of it, really. I'm really impressed with how quickly we've turned this round. We kind of finalised the song about a week ago, and since then I've kind of mixed it, mastered it, done the playthrough and got everything together. It's really easy when the materials you're given are so good, so I do need to thank Rob and Arron for making a huge effort and making sure that everything was as easy for me as possible. I've got a few more of these songs in the works already, floating around the internet in email chains and stuff. They do take quite a lot of effort to put together. It's not as simple as just writing a song. There's an awful lot of other stuff behind the scenes that I have to do. Even as simple as making the playthrough video takes time. So these aren't going to be a weekly event, but they're going to be bloody good. So feel free to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you catch them all. If you want to be involved, give me a shout on Facebook or whatever. Absolutely love to involve as many people as possible. So thank you very much for watching. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye bye.